The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 21st April, 2021. Initiation. I am. This is a new beginning. Me. 10 days of the physical aspect of Aries. What are we up against? I am. Not so difficult. But perhaps it does invite us to take action. As we said, Aries is an initiator. The astrological year begins with him, and the ancient calendar was based on the celebrations of the end of March and beginning of April as the days when the activities of the field, the basis of life, began. Start comes from the words inside, and ire, go, that is, to get going. In English, beginning comes from the verb ser, to be, and the Proto-Germanic verb ginana, to open. So it would be something like being in the opening. This leads us to understand that something new begins here, which aims to be different from the previous one. Therefore, Aries, from its center and axis, invites us to stop reacting and start acting. Action is the key to this time. It is to initiate a force, an energy, a forward impulse. Me. Today, I'm having a hard time starting something. I've done several things already, but I feel like I can't handle myself. I am. Because you haven't been willing to start at all. You must put one foot in front and do something new, which you have not done before. Exhaustion is produced by reaction, the constant circle of repetition. When you put your energy into starting something new, different, your body lights up, activates, depositing its strength in it. Me. What conceptually is the beginning? I mean, when we ask ourselves, what was the beginning of all things? I am. This big question which everyone has asked. Me. Can you answer it? I am. Any way I start explaining how it all started, I'd be wrong. Me. Why? I am. Because what I can explain to you from the beginning would not be an objective vision, but a subjective perception from my point of view of the origin. Me. Are there many origins, then? I am. That's right. But they all started with a thought, which we would translate into a wave that moved everything. First was the word. The universe was created by songs. In the beginning it was the Om. Heaven and earth arose from divine songs. Waves of vibration spread throughout the cosmos. Mentalism manifested itself in the word. First was silence, and from it came the voice. But what happened is difficult to put into words because there were all the words. And for this reason, each one in existence narrates his journey through his song. Me. Existence is basically the narration of its perspective in relation to the origin. I am. And each step is performed as an echo of that first pulse, and in turn, propelling itself towards the origin from which it came. You know very well what this process is called. Me. How? I am. Initiation. Me. Oh, the famous initiation. Back in 2008, I think, I lived my first initiation, in which I was suddenly confronted to see how everyone who used to live in my memories, in my ideas, manifested itself. It was at that time that I lived in my own skin, what I previously believed was in my mind. It was a normal day when I was eating pizza with friends, many of whom I just knew that same day, and one of them, out of nowhere, and talking about very mundane topics, fell on the sofa where he was sitting, and began to channel a schoolmate who had died in an accident years before, a companion that only 2 of us who were there knew. And after giving us the message he came to give us, a dark being took the body of this boy and began to attack me. A very long story, but that led us to leave the pizzas aside to start an exorcism process. However, what happened was much more interesting. The story of this demon in relation to me came from a very old task in which he had felt betrayed by many, something that we had to solve, and the boys who were there began to awaken their sleeping potentials, such as clairvoyance, perception of other dimensions, channeling, and so many other things. What happened next began a full month of signs, messages, tasks, which took us throughout the city of Rosario, Argentina, a Da Vinci Code-style adventure mixed with Constantine and Harry Potter. I knew for the first time what a node was and what it meant to activate it. I was aware of what the potentials were, the group task, the activation of a network in a territory, the healing of history. Every step we took every day, we discovered something new, and we understood our missions. Each day was a new adventure that led us to culminate in the Temple of Liberty, the flag monument. There our mission culminated in a strange ceremony where we managed to free that entity and 2 more that had joined it throughout the month. And at the end of everything, on a wall returning home, we see written in graffiti, it was not 3 demons, it was 3 projects. I am. It had been your initiation. Me. Yes. At that moment I understood that I had gone through a series of trials that had made it clear to me that something new was beginning, and that every time we had a mission to fulfill before an initiation would come. Many years later, every path he took began with an initiation. I am. An initiation is to start something, anything. Initiation to the piano is that you start piano lessons. Initiation to English is that you begin to study another language. Initiation to mathematics, initiation to computing, spiritual initiation, photographic initiation, initiation to painting. Every new thing you undertake in your life is an initiation. The concept has been used in ancient times as a concept related to the ceremonial, religious, cultural. An initiation ceremony is performed, like those strange theatrical pantomimes where the initiate must go through certain trials, and if they are overcome, he will be accepted into the fraternity. Baptism, communion are Christian initiations. Bar mitzvah is a Jewish initiation, to cite some well-known examples. Although the initiations of the university fraternities in the United States have also been very famous, or those that crossed the Lords in Old Europe and that recall the initiations received by the occult and hermetic fraternities that moved away from the gazes of the Inquisitor Church, as in the Enlightenment, Freemasonry, and others considered sects. During the Renaissance periods, artists designed initiatory paths where they left secrets hidden by towns and cities, which only those hard-working apprentices could interpret. If they discovered the end of the road by following the clues, they would go through the final tests to find out if he was worthy of being part of the group. Me. Yes, it's very sectarian. I am. But they had their logic. Ancient art study groups were forbidden, and it was to be ensured that only true lovers of knowledge could reach the main center so as not to endanger others. These traditions came from the Hebrew Kabbalistic vision, which traced stages of personal growth, but it came from the ancient initiatory paths of the Middle East and the Nile. Me, the way of Chem, of the Nile, the Atlantean initiatory path that led me to perform the stages again, this time in the Egyptian temples, both alone and with other people. I am. But these paths are the cultural and religious formation of something much earlier, the paths of the nomads, who were launched to find a prosperous place, with the aim of developing. In several millenary native cultures, nowadays considered minority, the Aborigines, for example, traced initiatory paths through deserts or jungles, mountains or seas, where the apprentices had to undergo tests that prepared them to be an active part of a community, discovering the strength of their body, their soul, and their spirit. This is how initiatory paths arise at first. Following the migrations of animals, changes in climate, cycles of the moon, the flow of rivers, mountain ranges, everything traced meandering paths that showed life itself to move through reality. Physically, humans followed these steps, which became the nourishment of their souls, which led them to discover the inner capacities at each step, and in doing so, showed them the power of their spirits. Me. The roads, then, began to be represented by the serpents, because of their shapes, the undulating paths. I am. And so it was that the serpent became the mother of all sages in humanity, the serpent that guards knowledge, the truth that is at every corner of the path. I am. That's why the initiatory paths began to be traced in a meandering way on the banks of the rivers, or on roads through mountains with alignments of rocks. I am. And at every stop, they had to face a test. a mission. Me. I remember the one we did as Atlanteans on the Nile. It was divided into 33 tests, 11 for the body, 11 for the soul, and 11 for the spirit, one for each human vertebra. Sometimes people would take 33 years to perform these tests, spending a year in each temple on the banks of the Nile, although for others it was only 9 years, 3 for the body, 3 for the soul, and 3 for the spirit. That led us towards birth, passing through the 4 pillars of the universe: expression, experimentation, integration, and transcendence, and then manifesting ourselves in birth, growing, reproducing, and dying. The path began at Lake Victoria, Uganda, called Nan-A, the Big Window. It's funny to me now that I think yesterday we talked about Victoria and the initiatory path began there. I am. Everything has a meaning. Me. I was still along the White Nile, although some were starting the road on the Blue Nile from present-day Lake Tana in Ethiopia. In present-day Khartoum, there was one of the temples that linked the feet of the world to the central channel of the Great Nile. Physical tests led us to sail, to cross deserts, mountains, to survive wild animals, to overcome the need for survival and the fear of death. The next stage led us to face the emotions in the territory between Sudan and southern Egypt, which laid us bare those attachments, bonds, and which led us to the break of our inner being, to be reborn as someone new from point zero. To continue with the last part to the north of Egypt, where we integrated the spirit, where we were tested, the mind, the ideas, the ability to control our thoughts, to direct the intention. Once the 33 steps were completed, the last section was made along the Jordan Valley, to culminate on the island of Cyprus. And everything done, you received the staff of the serpent, which made you a priest or priestess, a teacher. I am. And this path was just beginning all over again. Me. Oh yes, for the Atlanteans, the initiatory path did not have an end, but was constant, and we always had to maintain the task of walking the world or ourselves. What we had learned had to be reviewed, put into practice again and again, and although the trials were no longer as strong as they were at the beginning, each new year was known for the priesthood as a new initiation. Every day we start our activities, every month we start a new period, every year we start a new cycle, and everything that composed us has been transformed, so it is necessary to re-prepare the new cells again. I am. That is why we will travel this initiatory path, me. Now, in 9 days, I am. Yes, that's right. So here I leave the task to be done for this week. We will have to walk, but the path will be chosen by you. Look for a map of the area in which you are located. It can be an area of 100 meters around or 100 kilometers around. You will identify 9 sites, and each one you will assign a chakra. If you cannot move or go very far, then invent this path using representative objects of each day in a patio or house, taking advantage of the rooms. Every day I will tell you what to do in relation to the corresponding center. Simply give each site an attribute. Starting? Me. The ankle chakra. I am. Related to a path. It can be a corridor, a transit site, where we manifest our willingness to move forward in life, leave or enter. Me. The chakra of the knees. I am. Related to a historical site, at least a site that represents the memories of the ancestors or of the traveled, the oldest site or where the memories are located. Me. The root chakra. I am. Related to a tree, a place with roots, with branches that connect deep in the earth. Me. The sacral chakra. I am. Related to a well or water source. It can be a water well, a pool, a fountain in a square, a lake, river, or the bathroom itself. Me. The plexus chakra. I am. Related to a meeting point. Square, shopping center, park, dining room, a space for interaction of people. Me. The heart chakra. I am. Related to a service site, from a restaurant to a bank, hospital, kitchen. Attention centers, space that recalls the idea of being available or sharing with others, giving of yourself to others. Me. The laryngeal chakra. I am. Related to a learning site, whether it's a school, library, or desk, bookshelf, or just putting some books on the floor. Me. The third eye chakra. I am. A place of contemplation. High place from where you can see everything else. Quiet place. A roof, hill, table. The important thing is that you place yourself in a space where you can see a different perspective. Me. The crown chakra. I am. A spiritual, meditation, religious, faith center, or in any case, the spiritual space of your home, an altar, a sacred place, whether in the house or in nature. Me. From what I see, we will work the crown with the Taurus, since today you are proposing the task. I am. That's right. The path of alignments will begin in reverse today, as this will be a different start. From the feet to the crown, we will cross the Nile and activate our initiatory way. This will be a small test that helps us understand that every day we start something new, that every week can become an initiatory path, and so we will be ready for the big test. Me. Which one? I am. The way of the dragon. Tour the snake of the world from this August 2021 until December 2021. Me. Is there already homework? I am. That's right. As you travel the great snake of the world from Turkey to Patagonia, passing through India, Siberia, Alaska, the Rockies, Nicaragua, Bolivia, and Argentina, they will all make the same journey. So, are you ready to start the path of the serpent? Me. Yes. I am ready to realize the external path to the internal. I am. Welcome to the initiatory path of Aries. Started?